Okay, so we're live now with the YouTube stream. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Unfortunately, our surprise guest doesn't seem to be awake. So we're
4 in the morning.
Yeah. Well, who knows what time it is there? But he's not. What do you do?
He's in Canada.
Well, that explains it.
But in all fairness, he's not very good with times and appointments.
Oh.
So it's one trait I've noticed in him. So what I should have done is kept on prodding him, going, don't forget. But I've been obviously busy this week doing like personal stuff, hence why I haven't had many videos out this week and whatnot. I was going to go to the cemetery last night, but we had gale force winds and a couple of trees have even been fallen down. So I didn't go out in the gale force to do a session because that would just be stupid. Yeah, it's nice and sunny now. It looks beautiful now, but
goodness, well, we actually had a
yeah, it's really windy, like 60-mile-an-hour wind.
Did
you?
Yeah, we had torrential rain, we had thunder, and the wind was phenomenal. So yeah, there were quite a few.
We got
bad.
Exactly what we got.
So good morning to those who are in the morning zone. We've got Albert, Zara, E.V.P. Paranormal Science. We have Liz Hall, and there's quite a few. Let me just have a look at our little list of visitors.
Look. I'm just trying to get to chat room now on the other phone.
Okay. LT Light, Ghost Paranormal. North Nottingham Paranormal Investigators. Wow, that's nice to have them show up. I don't know whether they're still on though. It's anyone's guess.
Yeah.
Who else have we got in there? I'm just sort of like scrolling back. Oh, we've got me in there.
Me too.
Hello, the High Priestess. Who else have we got? Well, that's about it, actually. And we've got Queen Elizabeth. Yes, the Queen.
Queen Elizabeth?
Yeah, I'm only joking, right?
I was about to curtsy.
It's a bit late here. Okay, so what we were going to talk about tonight was the Ouija board. I don't see why we can't talk about it anyway. I actually thought there was actually a website I came across, very informative, speaking about the Ouija when it all began. And did you know that it actually began in the 1800s? So it was
1890. A toy at first, like
1891.
It wasn't really taken seriously.
Yeah, they basically.
It does say when I posted the Angry Video Game Nerd doing a Ouija board. Obviously, it's a spoof comedy, but he goes into detail of who published it. It was a Hasbro or someone like that. It was meant to be a toy, I think, at first. It wasn't really meant to be taken seriously. And then, obviously, well, we know, don't we now? What's what? I've myself never really used a Ouija board apart from once or twice in the early days of Charlie's residence here, which is how we found out he was called Charlie. But instead, we thought he was called Charlotte for a little while, till we had mediums in who explained what everything was. So, yeah. So that's the only time we've ever used them. We sort of steered clear of them for funny reasons.
Well, to be honest with
superstition or worry.
Yeah, well, the Ouija board, though, is no different to a spirit box. The only thing is you've got an audible connection. So in reality, if you're using the spirit box or you're using a Ouija board, they're still one of the same thing. You're opening a connection. The thing is, though, with the spirit boxes I've mentioned, that you can have an audible of all different realms out there. different energies, different
Yeah.
types of beings can come through. So they're not just necessarily the ones directly in your own environment. One moment.
Yeah.
Kids. Okay, so
Wait,
kids. All right, so firstly, what I might
Yeah.
do is ask if there are any questions that anybody has.
Yeah, I'm gonna wing it today.
Yeah, we're going really ultra casual today.
Yeah. We had the same thing with Dr. Ray, our guest, let us down as well. Things happen, you know.
Oh my goodness, I can't believe it. What have we got? Some kind of like
1 stone or 2 pounds?
Chris goes sick him. Okay.
Definitely.
So we have 1 stone or 2 cats on. So far we've got a few that are starting to sort of like
name, isn't it?
Yeah, we've even got order in there.
Yeah. Hello,
what I
faithful.
thought
That is me. That is me.
I might read you some of this if you want about the Ouija that I found. You'll have to forgive my voice when you do readings all day long. It sort of, gets...
Yeah.
Okay, so we have in February 1891, the first few advertisements started appearing in papers. Ouija, the wonderful talking board, boomed in Pittsburgh. Toy and novelty shop describing a magical device that answered questions about the past, present, and future with marvelous accuracy and promised never failing amusement and recreation for all the classes. A link between the known and unknown, the material and immaterial. Another advertisement in a New York paper declared it interesting and mysterious and testified as proven as patent office before it was allowed, price $1.50. The mysterious talking board was very, very cool. You wouldn't make much of it. The mysterious talking board was basically what's sold in board game aisles today. A flat board with letters of the alphabet arrayed in the 2 semicircles above the numbers O and 9. The words yes and no in the uppermost corners, goodbye at the bottom, accompanied by a planchet, a teardrop-shaped device used usually with a small window in the body, used to maneuver about the board. The idea was that 2 or more people would sit around the board, place their fingertips on the planchet, pose a question, and watch dumbfounded as the planchet moved from letter to letter, spelling out the answers seemingly of its own accord. The biggest difference is the materials. The board is now usually cardboard rather than wood, and the planchet is plastic.
Wood, yeah.
Though truth in advertising is hard to come by, especially in products of the 19th century, the Ouija board was interesting and mysterious. It actually had been proven to work at the patent office before its patent was allowed to proceed. And today, even psychologists believe that it may offer a link between the known and the unknown. The real history of the Ouija board is just about as mysterious as how the game works. Ouija historian Robert Merck has been researching the story of the board since 1992. When he started his research, he says no one really knew anything about its origins, which struck him as odd. For such an iconic thing that strikes both fear and wonder in American culture, how can no one know where it came from? Interesting. The Ouija board, in fact, came straight out of the American 19th century obsession with spiritualism. The belief that the dead are able to communicate with the living. Spiritualism, which has been around for years in Europe, hit America hard in 1848 with the sudden prominence of the Fox sisters of upstate New York. The foxes claimed to receive messages from spirits who rapped on the walls in answer to questions, recreating the feat of channeling in parlours across the state, aided by the stories about the celebrity sisters and other spiritualists in the new national press. Spiritualism reached millions of adherents at its peak in the second half of the 19th century. Spiritualism worked for Americans. It was compatible with Christian dogma, meaning one could hold a seance on Saturday night and have no qualms about going to church the next day. It was an acceptable, even wholesome activity to contact spirits at seances through automatic writing or table turning parties in which participants would place their hands on a small Sorry?
There's actually a woman, an author, I can't remember her name, what the name of the bloody book is now, but she actually wrote an entire book from the Ouija, and she's doing it very, very fast as well. I've got what she's called now.
Automatic writing?
Bugger it, does only read. Yeah, she's doing it through the Ouija board. She wrote a whole novel through Ouija. I can't remember what her name was now. That's really going to bug me. Oh, because I was only reading on it about a week ago, I think it was. But yeah, and people used to come over and they were absolutely amazed at how fast she was moving the board. And obviously, yeah, they were saying, oh, it was all fake and all the rest of it. But she got lots of answers right. Apparently, the spirits from the 17th century or something. It was 18th century. Well, obviously, the Ouija board hadn't been around that long. But yeah, she wrote an entire book. I can't remember if it's called Pittance, something like that. I'm going to do a quick Google search on it. Keep reading. I'll try and find out for you.
That would be interesting. So it goes on to say, where are we? So participants would place their hands on a small table and watch it begin to shake and rattle, while they all declared that they weren't moving it. It also offered solace in an era when the average lifespan was less than 50. Women died in childbirth, children died of disease, and men died in war. Even Mary Todd Lincoln, wife of the... You found it?
I've got it. Yeah, so when you're ready, I'll go through this way, but you keep going. I've got it.
Where are we?
Sorry, put you off.
Even Mary Todd Lincoln, wife of the venerable president, conducted seances in the White House after their 11-year-old son died of a fever in 1862. During the Civil War, spiritualism gained adherents in droves. People desperate to contact the loved one who had gone away to war and never came home. Then it goes on to say, communicating with the dead was common. It wasn't seen as bizarre or weird, explains Merck. It's hard to imagine that now we look at it and think, why are you opening the gates of hell? But opening the gates of hell wasn't on anyone's mind when they started the Kennard Novelty Company. The first producers of the Ouija board, in fact, they were mostly looking to open American wallets. As spiritualism had grown in American culture, so too did frustrations with how long it took to get to a meaningful message out of the spirit board. Out the alphabet and waiting for a knock at the right time, for example, was deeply boring. After all, rapid communication with breathing humans at far distance was more of a possibility. The telegraph had been around for decades. Why shouldn't spirits be easy to reach? People were desperate for methods of communication that would be quicker. And while several entrepreneurs, I always get stuck on that word, entrepreneurs realized that it was the Kennard Novelty Company that really nailed it. So I'll let you talk about your thing now.
Okay, so what we have here is a picture of a woman who has passed and she is dead. Okay. Patience Worth is the name of ye spirit, was allegedly a spirit contacted by Pearl Lenore Curran, who was around in February 15, 1883, and died in the 4th of December, 37. This symbiotic relationship produced several novels, poetry, and prose, which Pearl Curran claimed was delivered through channeling the spirit of Patience Worth. Psychologists and skeptics who have studied Curran's writings are in agreement that Patience was a fictitious creation of Curran. Curran was born Pearl Leonard Pollard in Mound City, Illinois. The family moved to Texas when she was 8 months old, and she started school when she was 6. Yada, 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 yada. Let's get to the good stuff. That's what we need to do, don't we? So anyway, the appearance of Patience Worth. Beginning in July 1912, Pearl Curran and her friend Emily Grant Hutchings were making a call on a neighbor who had an Ouija board. And during the call, there came what purported to be a message from a relative of Mrs. Hutchins. Mrs. Hutchins then brought a Ouija board and took it to Mrs. Curran's house with the idea of continuing the communications. Pearl was somewhat indifferent and had to be coaxed to participate in the board. On 22nd of June 1913, a communication from Pat C began to come through. Then on July 8th, 1913, the board seemed to be possessed with unusual strength, and supposed communications from Patience Worth again began. Many moons ago I lived, again I come. Hey, wait, I would speak with thee. If thou shalt live, then so shall I make my bread at thy hearth. Good friends, let us be merry. Sounds like an excuse to get drunk here. The time for work is past. Let the tabby drowse and blink her wisdom to the fire log. When she asked when she lived, the dates were 1649 to 94 were given, and that her home was across the sea. Although Worth indicated that she was from England, she never named the town or village in which she lived. She did give some clues, which were deduced by Caspar Yost and other intimates of the Currans to indicate that Patience Worth had lived in rural Dorsetshire, which is kind of near where I live, with her father John and mother Anne. Curran had a mental picture of the place in which Patience Worth lived, indicating that Patience Worth lived in a green, rolling country of gentle slopes, not found much, with houses here and there. 2 or 3 miles up this country on this road was a small village. Mrs. Curran then visualized Patience leaving for America on a huge wood 3-master schooner, which is a type of boat, I think. Patience was described by Mrs. Curran as probably about 30 years. Her hair was dark red mahogany. Her eyes were brown and large and deep. Her mouth firm and set as though repressing strong feelings. Her hair had been disarranged by her cap and was in big, glossy, soft waves. Mrs. Curran also saw Patience sitting on a horse, holding a bundle tied in a sailcloth, tied with thongs and wearing a coarse cloth cape. Brown-grey, with hood, like a cowl, peaked the faces in shadow. She is small, and her feet are small, with coarse square-toed shoes and grey woolen stockings. After a long voyage, the ship arrived at the jagged coast of America, where they could find no landing place for the ship. Several flatboats were launched. Mrs. Curran saw Patience standing in the prow of a boat, one of the first to reach the shore. So what I want to get to is the book. So in 1916, a book with a foreword written by Caspar Yost, editor of St. Louis Globe Democrat, Henry Holt and Company publicized Curran's claim that she had contacted the long-dead Patience Worth. Curran claimed she began to anticipate what the Ouija board was going to spell, and by 1919, the pointer would just move aimlessly about the board. Curran described pictorial visions which accompany the coming of the words from Patience. She said, I am like a child with a magic picture book. Once I look upon it, all I have to do is to watch its pages open before me, and I reveal in their beauty and variety and novelty. When the poems come, there also appear before my eyes images of each successive syllable, as the words are given me. When the stories come, the scenes become panoramic, with the characters moving and acting their parts. Even speaking in converse, the picture is not confined to the point of narrated, but takes in everything else within the circle of vision at the time. If the people talk a foreign language, as in the sorry tale, I hear the talk, but over and above is the voice of Patience, either interpreting or giving me the part she wishes to use as a story. Pearl Curran went on to describe her association with Patience Worth as one of the most beautiful that can be a privilege of a human being to experience. Pearl and Patience together wrote several novels, including Telka, The Sorry Tale, Hope True Blood, The Pot Upon the Wheel, and some others which I can't really pronounce, as well as several short stories and many poems. The Patience Worth writings coincided with revival spiritualism in the United States and Britain, possibly facilitating interest in the matter. Skeptics derided certain aspects of the supposed communication, knowing particularly that Patience was able to write a novel about the Victorian age, an era some 200 years after the one in which she claimed to have lived. Still, the literature produced was considered to be high quality by some. The literary critic William Reedy considered the sorry tale to be a new classic of world literature. Patience Worth was also listed as one of the most outstanding authors of 1918 by the Joint Committee of Literal Arts. She was also cited by William Stanley in 1918 edition of the anthology magazine Verse and Year and Book of America by printing the complete text of 5 of her poems along with other leading poets of the day. So yeah, basically, there's lots there. Just go on Wikipedia. Obviously, I know Wikipedia can not always have the correct facts. Like I knew when I was at college, you're not allowed to use Wikipedia because citations and stuff. But it's got a history in it. Just type in Patience Worth, and you'll get it. It's literally how you spell patience, which is Patience, Worth, Worth.
And that's her name.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting that she wrote. Yeah, well, that's the spirit's name. Her name is Pearl something or other, Pure Curran. But she's wrote lots of books via the Ouija board, and the words must have come from somewhere. Even if it was a good imagination she had, and it wasn't what she was thinking was happening, she was very quick and very precise to bring these things forward. I mean, how easy is it? How easy is it to do a poem off of the start? 1, 2, 3 in the place to be. That's about as far as I can go without thinking about it. She was doing it really, really fast. So, where's that information coming from at such speed?
Yeah.
About it.
I actually saw a really good experiment that was done using a Ouija board, and they had the people using it, and they were getting communication, but then they blindfolded the people, and they thought without their knowledge, they reversed the board. So the person who was actually sitting on one side, who would have seen yes on one end or whatever and no on the other side, they reversed it. So the other person was having it, and it was actually at the bottom, if you know what I mean. So they turned the board around without them knowing as they were putting their blindfold on. And it was an experiment that was done not with just them, but other people as well. And they actually found that they subconsciously were interacting, like they were doing it. So if they can do it without a blindfold on and actually go to the letters, there is a more stronger connection. I remember back in the day, a friend and we sat down with the cut out pieces of paper, and we had a tiny little glass, a little shot glass. And we thought we would try and contact whoever was in her home, because she just wanted to see some, activity. Yeah. So we're doing that, and this spirit came through, didn't give a name. And she thought, I said, why don't you ask questions? Because she said, are you moving it? I said, no, I swear I'm not. She said, well, how am I going to be able to prove it? I said, well, ask a question that there's no way I would know. And she said, well, I'll ask one that even I don't know. And it'll be where is a missing object, like a baby book. So we asked where this baby book might be. Is it in the home? First question. It said yes. And we said whereabouts. It spelt out spare room. And then it said the third box, as in the number 3 and box. So we said, can we go and have a look? It said yes. We said, will you wait for us? Yes. So we went into this room. Wow. To our surprise, there were boxes everywhere, because they'd only just moved in, and I mean, this room had just basically used up as storage. So we thought we'll count 3 boxes and then look in that one. Didn't work that way. It was actually the third box we looked in. And what she did, she put her hand down the side of the box and said, oh my God, and pulled out the baby book.
Found it.
In her hand, in the third box we looked in. So we couldn't cheat. We couldn't just go like 1, 2, 3, we'll pick that one. It was the third one we looked in.
Yeah.
So this is where you can actually get a lot of help from the other side, especially for skeptics, because she was massive.
Yeah. Where's my memory card?
Yeah, and there's no way that, you know, we could just say, yeah, that is that's us doing this or her, because she had been looking for that for months to years. I mean, they'd been in this home for some time, but that room was just all storage boxes, stuff that they just put in there. There wasn't any use for that room whatsoever. So there was no need to unpack anything because they weren't even sure whether they were going to stay there. But it was really fascinating. And each time this same spirit would come through and help find things. So there was nothing negative. I have never encountered any negative entity experience with the Ouija board.
Well, we haven't really used the board a lot. My wife used it with when we started weird things happening, obviously. Like I said, we had a group of eager here who we actually firsthand, but they were teenage girls, so you can imagine their excitement and false positives come through, like the spelling of the name. What's your name? Charl. And so, oh, Charlotte, and yes, straight to yes. And because he's a bit of a practical joker, I've told you the butter story from the fridge to my bed and all that lot. You know, he was known as Charlotte for a little bit. It was only when, you know, with 12th hour, we had mediums come over and they told us exactly what was what, you know, whether they were correct or not. Well, he said, well, his name's not Charlotte, it's Charlie, but he thought it would be funny to be a girl for a week or whatever, you know. Okay, he means you no harm. He's just coexisting with you, if that's okay. And we gave him rules, like he wasn't allowed to shut the door on us, which is quite ironic, but I caught my door being shut on one of my videos before. But obviously, this is 2 years, you know, since we've had anything from that side. And he wasn't allowed to appear in mirrors or anything spooky like that. And he certainly had to stay away from the kids. And all rules were adhered to, apart from one time when he smashed a vodka bottle, which was kind of like, you know, as a bit of an eye opener. But yeah, that's the only time we've really used the Ouija board. We don't know much about it, and obviously, wifey's always worried about, you know, what can come through or whatnot. Obviously, also as well, like, you know, I've told you a story about my wife being attacked with my daughter as well that one time, you know. And that's another reason. But as you said, you're using the spirit box. What is the difference other than audio source as opposed to physically touching something that way? But I mean, I'm no medium or have any sort of sense or anything like that sort of thing. Get goosebumps sometimes, you know. And you get
just from a medium's perspective. One thing I do notice whenever there is a spirit box session, it's like the air around you begins to shape shift, and that's my first sign of spirits coming forward. I don't know whether you've noticed it. Sort of, if this will probably help those who are wondering how they see spirit. It's like, I don't know whether you remember that movie, what's it called, with Sylvester Stallone, where there's that alien thing, and it actually, is it Sylvester Stallone? I can't remember. Where that...
You're not a ghost, are you, surely?
Sorry? The alien thing has like all these like weird, oh God, I can't even think of the name of it.
Independence Day?
Someone might know in chat. But this thing would actually be like turn invisible, if you want to put it that way, but you would still see it as it moved. It's like the air would actually form almost like a jello, if you want to put it that way. If no, not Total Recall. No, I don't think.
I've got images of 3 boobs now.
No. Oh God, I can't even think of the name of it. But anyway, this particular thing is a great example for those who are wondering. If you notice like a funny haze in the air itself, like it seems to have motion to it, but you're not seeing wind, that is actually how spirit can look, first of all, before they begin to completely manifest. No, not entity.
Ah.
I can't think of the blooming name of it. But anyway, that is usually what I begin to see when I'm starting to do like a spirit box session. I will see it's like the shape-shifting air about me, and I know I've got spirit starting to present. And it's not necessarily the ones that are here, because usually they would just show themselves, you know.
Yeah.
What the?
Yeah. Don't worry about the chat. That's just they said I said a naughty word. I'm just saying, right? They're like, oh, Ryan's done a video on how to attract good spirits as opposed to bad spirits on your Ouija board. I said, well, Ryan's meant to be here. He's meant to be here. God damn it! But
Where is he?
I don't think he's got really good, amazing organization skills. He needs a PA. That's what he needs. But it's my fault really, because I didn't him know that you were going to be on. He knew it was me on. I did tell him because he missed last week. So he was like, oh my god, I missed last week. Oh my god. I said, don't worry, she had a migraine anyway. Try next week. Yeah, cool. Of course, that was on Monday.
I didn't talk about the blooming migraine.
Busy, so I haven't done hardly any videos this week at all. I was going to go to the cemetery yesterday, but we had like gale force winds and that. We've got a couple of trees that come down as well. So I didn't go out to the cemetery last night as well. So I even was going to do a Q&A because I've got a Q&A video.
Predator.
Now there's enough questions there to do a video on it. Well, I couldn't even get that done. Halfway through it, I had the boy come in. Well, he's a man now. He's not a boy. He's 19. But he come in and interrupt, and and then they were coming in and interrupt. It's like, okay, it's nice to record on the fly, but this is getting me on the joke now. I can't even, that's why I've had no videos out. There was a point to this.
E.V.P. Paranormal Science got it. Movie Predator. That's the one I'm talking about.
Predator. Oh yeah. That's Arnold Schwarzenegger.
So that is actually how it looks. Believe it or not. Wow. Look, I've got to mention. Has anyone in the chat actually lost a partner, young male? Because as I'm talking to you, I've got a male around me who seems to know people. He said there they are. So I don't know which there they are, but he's a young. Yeah, he's a young guy. I feel like a connection emotionally.
Not partner.
Was just out of interest, Sarah, was he fair? Because this one is like mousy fair coloured hair. Zara said cousin. I'm getting a fair.
He says he's lost a male cousin last night.
No, not him. Okay. Can you give me your name? You're going to have to talk up. David. I had a Rick around.
Red hair, is it?
I had a Rick around earlier today.
A what?
A Rick.
Sorry? Oh, what? That's bad grammar. Oh, a Rick.
Sorry?
I'm with you now. Sorry, I thought you meant something.
Yeah, his name's Rick.
I'm with you now.
No, not red hair. He's got like a mousy coloured blonde to it. So I don't know who he may be, or he said that they are. So I'm assuming he's referring to someone in chat, because I've got the chat screen rolling and I'm every now and then glancing at it. Oh, okay. Okay.
I can't hear a lot.
He didn't take his life. He's saying, don't worry, I didn't take my own life. I had an accident, and he's talking about a car accident.
Oh dear.
Do you?
He's in his 50s, says Alberto.
Sorry?
Is he in his 50s, says Alberto?
No, he's young. No, he's young.
24 years old. North Nottingham
He
says,
would be in
my
his
stepson died in a car crash 3 years ago. He got
Okay.
trapped and was burnt. His name was Adam David Burton. He was 24.
Oh, I heard David. But I doubt that a spirit's going to say their middle name. They're just going to say their first name normally, as a person would. Was he quite tall? Because he's tall. Okay. There was a slight operation to try and save them so they didn't die in the crash. It was as a result of injuries, but there was nothing that they could do. They're talking about the spleen, so something to do with the spleen. Do you have a message you want to pass on? If it's not anyone that you can see here, you're saying there they are. Who's they?
Oh, my eyes.
Come back and talk. Don't worry. It's all right. You're not disturbing me. It's all right. Okay. It was brief. Okay, go on.
Yeah.
Sorry. When they come through, I've got to acknowledge. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. I thought I heard him again. He's gone. Okay. That actually got to me a bit, the way he was talking. All right, so
it's weird. A lot of people get through this because of grief, and they lose a loved one. They don't go for it because it seems interesting at the time. They're thinking, "Oh, I need to have that last bit of closure," I think is the word, that last communication. And in my wife's case, it would be, "I hear you, my dear," or something, which is, whether that was her or not, I never know, because spirits sometimes they mimic, don't they, and trick, depending on what person. But that was Genesis for her. That really put closure on her own mother. So that's why a lot of people get into this, because they lose someone. They think, well, is there a way of actually contacting them? Is that possible? And then they try, and they obsess over it. And you get the other type of people who are like me, I suppose. I haven't really I have lost people, lots of people, but I never thought about trying to contact them. But I obviously stumble upon, on it. If I didn't meet my wife, would I be into it now? I have no idea. Would I even have, I wouldn't believe in it, I don't think, because I was very, very skeptic, which is probably why people kick me for going, "Oh, you always say everything's paranormal, you jump to that conclusion too quickly." Yeah, maybe I do, but that's probably because of all the stuff I've witnessed and seen and heard and all the rest of it, So I know it exists, if that makes sense. So I don't need to keep proving to myself, I guess. So, that's neither here or there, is it? It's just
Springtrap.
Trying to get into this is very strange, isn't it?
Springtrap said her uncle was 22. So
when was
I can't say it was your uncle. He just said there they are, and he is tall. He has mousy fair hair, and he's on the slim side. So that's all I can give you. And the fact that he said his name was David. Of all the names. And by the way, that was quite funny what you did when I was driving.
What was that? Oh yeah, the spoof radio station for David. Yeah. What happened there, babe?
What the? Cheeky buggers. Okay. All right. Yeah, there was a little bit of paranoia there, I reckon. Okay, so in relation to going back to the spirit box and the Ouija board, I really do believe that the only difference is it was Sharra. It was quite funny.
Reminiscing on how good it was. Yeah.
I think the only difference really is that you've got an order.
We did on Steve Huff, we randomly rang somebody. We rang up a random
Whose
person.
idea was that?
Oh, I have a guess whose idea that was. It wasn't mine. He said, "Oh, I know this guy, Stephen Huff. You know, maybe we should just like, because he doesn't know, he's not into it. He's a plumber. We should bring him up. You know, because being we've got no guests, we had to wing it and play for time. Because like you, our guests let us down, so to say, because they got other commitments. I think it was a health actually, but it was a problem. You know, health's the most important thing, isn't it? So we weren't cross or anything, definitely not. But we had to think quick. What can we do to at least entertain people? You know, and we had this great idea.
Well, it was different. It was different.
Yeah. Yeah. I think even Huff himself would have found that funny. At least.
Yeah.
He probably won't.
If they've got any.
So insulted by that. I find it funny. Someone did it to me. But, you know.
I had a bit of a giggle.
He was a bit cross though, wasn't he? He was pretty damn cross. Then Bray went to ring him up again. Like afterwards, he rang him up again. Oh dear. If anyone didn't watch that, it's I'll quickly say it. We'll get back to what we were doing. Nobody believes me paranormal. Last Monday, that's just gone. Watch that stream. We rang up a guy called Stephen Huff, who was not Stephen Huff, and asked him a load of questions related to Steve Huff. How was your hospital stay after being attacked by a demon? How was your wonder box? She said, I have a toolbox. And it was just, oh my God. It was cringe. And he got irate after a while. It's like, who are you? You're wasting my time. And it was a proper spoof. So yeah, go watch that after this. Maybe it's quite amusing. Yeah, spirit box being an audible contact method as opposed to the Ouija, which is like a touchy-feely method, if that makes sense. You know, does the plancher sort of glide when you get things? Because we used to run it round the outside. What we did, and then it would somehow coerce to wherever. We had about 3 or 4 people on it. I mean, ours was homemade; it wasn't the real thing, and we used a shot glass. And it should be noted, every time we asked about death or their ending, they tipped the glass over. They never answered that question, almost like it was out of bounds. You're not allowed to answer, or it doesn't want to be asked about death. We never know how Charlie died or whatever. You know, always tip the glass up.
I think if your approach when you're doing that is just focusing on a positive, you're going to attract a positive. I mean, you know, there's so many people who say to me, how do you protect yourself? And because I never studied this, and I'm not going to be, you know, backward and coming forward about it, I didn't study this. This is something that you had. But I have never felt the need to go, I have a white light around me. I have, you know, all this coming down upon me. You know, today I must say, I won't say the live stream that I went on. I wasn't like in the live stream. I went in and they had the chat room, and oh my God, you know, it's no wonder so many people make or think of mediums as jokes. Seriously, this, I have to say it. I bit my lip. I wasn't going to say anything, but this woman, I said, look, I've got to leave. This is too airy-fairy for me, because they said, oh, can you contact Elvis? And she's like, oh, he's in heaven. I can see him. He's saying, play the music. Keep the music going. And then she started singing songs, you know, like, and he's singing, oh, and the way, and I thought, like, you've got to be kidding me. Oh, it was anyway. I don't surround myself with any light because we all have a light around us. From what spirits say, we all have our own light, and I think if you believe you've got angels with you, or you believe you've got your guide with you, that's all you need, really. None of this. Oh, we've got to, meditate for half an hour. We've got to visualize ourselves in a big bubble. I mean, what am I, a bubble girl? I don't do any of that. I know it sounds really weird because people will be out there saying, "Oh my God, she doesn't even protect herself." But have I ever been attacked? No. What does that tell you?
Well, is it? How dare you, fairies who do not exist, do exist? How dare you be late?
Exactly. Well, you're not gonna get attacked if you are not, if you're got the attitude that you're going to invite something demonic, you've got a good chance of inviting something demonic. If you focus on positive, you'll mainly get positive. Who wants to hang around you if you're not interested in something negative? But
yeah, I always like because that's just me being me and asking for that validation because radios do not swear, and
that is your way of knowing. That's your partial skepticism there, which has to be justified and has to be eliminated. And once you've got that, then you go on to ask other things. I get it, and I understand that, and I think that Spirit would understand that with you, because that would be your the way that they see you as, okay, this is the only way he's going to believe we're here is if we swear at him or we call him this or whatever. But if you don't feel...
That's when I asked him, what type of spirit are you? Are you the devil? Are you human?
Okay. Where'd you go? Oh, he's in heaven. We gotta wait. Come back, Riley. Come back. Okay. Riley, can you hear me? Riley. Where are you? Oh, you bugger. All right, so I've got to... Okay.
Mom, can I...
That was my name last time, though. Yes.
Can I please have your phone?
No.
Why?
Because
It's Friday.
it's flat.
Why it's flat?
Was that thunder?
I need to turn off the lights. Turn off the lights.
There.
I'm here.
Strange.
That was weird.
Yeah, I mean,
you're talking about.
Yeah, they just shut me out.
We've got thunder. We've got thunder. You know what that means?
Okay. Good.
Good Ouija board weather. We've got Ouija board weather.
Yeah, why not?
Yes. Yeah, so
even coincidences. What Gibbs says about coincidences, right?
Hang on, I have to move that over. Karen, how would you help calm? Is that like CALM? You mean like calm down, kind of a frightened spirit? Okay. Well, I think just talk to them calmly. Talk to them nicely. As you would any person that's upset or a little bit scared, that is how you would talk to them. remember the only difference between you and them is they no longer have a physical form. They are spirit, but they still have feelings. Yeah, and that point there about being frightened is interesting because of the fact that, yes, they do get frightened just as we do. So,
Yeah.
I'm only teasing you, David. As in calm. I knew what you said. I knew. I was mucking around with you. All right. Yes. Where are we?
On a live stream's where we are.
Oh, did you see the video I put up about the shadow person?
No, I saw you post it, but I haven't. I'm so behind with everything at the moment. But no, but please show. Go ahead.
Well, I might as well. We've got nothing else.
Yes, I did. No. You put good music on, didn't you? To show. You put some different music on it to make it happier. Yeah, I did see that one. Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Well, Charlie was a shadow thing, according to that photo, and he never did us anything bad, to my knowledge. So, you know.
Exactly. I mean, if you think about shadow people, they don't have a physical form. They are energy, and energy is going to work with the environment that it's in. So you've got like a cemetery. What kind of emotion do you connect with a cemetery? Most people are upset when they go to a cemetery. So you're going to have, you know, spirits that are like mood rings. Sorry, Chris. They're going to be dark. I mean, you get dark spirits in your home. I had one where I woke up one night and standing just at the door where the door handle was this really dark spirit. And I said, what do you want? Like, what now? And then I just turned over, went to sleep, and that was it. You know, no more. Because it's like, what do you want? You're like, okay, she saw us. But yes, they come in many forms, many shapes. And one thing I've noticed too is you can have a spirit that may have died as a child, and they do keep aging. They don't just stay that age all through the spirit. They do grow. So this particular one that came in as a child walked away as a man. He morphed before my eyes. I was like, wow.
Oh, morph.
Yeah. And then I said to the person I was reading, did this person go on the other side as a child, but would they be a man at this point in their life? And they said yes. I said, well, that's just what's happened. I was amazed. But a lot of them will start with like it looks dark. It looks almost darker than dark, some of these shadow people.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they do grow up in the spirit world.
He's had a first-hand experience of a shadow person. The only experience I've had of a shadow person, other than my picture, which I could not see with my own eyes, the camera picks it up, is the sleep paralysis thing, because I jokingly said, oh, I wonder what it's like to be a ghost. And yeah, I got my answer, I guess. It's very wind tunnely, and I don't know how to describe it. It's a very weird experience, though. So yeah, but Scotty E.V.P Paranormal Science has had an actual attack, and I did love his Ghostbox session on it, because he goes, you try that shit with me again and I'll bloody have you. He's quite crossed with this shadow person that had done whatever, and he got it's on his channel. It's one of his earlier videos from a fair few years ago, but Hat Man, I think it is the name of the video. But yeah, he had a grudge to grow because this shadow person did the sleep paralysis thing on Scotty, and yeah, well, if he's still in the chat room, he can tell you all about it, you know. So like people, everyone has a good side and a bad side, don't they? You know, so you know.
That's right.
You know, just because they swear at you doesn't mean say they're demonic. I mean, I always ask that question just to see if I can gauge a reaction. But you know, it might just be.
Well, the way I answer people who talk about, you know, shadow spirits, I say never compare the color of a spirit to their mood or what type of spirit they are. It'd be like saying a person who has dark skin is evil. You know, it is. It's not
Yeah,
anything to do with that. It is just how their energy.
Spiritual racism.
It is. It is racism when you think about it. But
no.
yeah, but the spirit doesn't have a body anymore. It doesn't have flesh, which is pigmented or anything like that. It actually is like how you would describe. To be honest with you, when I've had one sit beside me, this is really an interesting spirit because they don't completely form. As he sat down, his face was swirling. There was no face. It was just mass, and it was swirling around. And you knew that there was a face there, but he couldn't form it. He just, no matter what he tried to do, he could not form the face. And at first I thought this is going to be really hard for him to talk because as he sat there, he's looking at me, but it was like it looked like, you know, when you stir water and you see the water swirling around like that. That's how his face was, where his face should be. It was just all over the place. Yeah, really. But he could talk.
Yeah.
So
That's mad.
It's amazing. It really is. I mean, the ones that they come in and you see only the top half of them. I don't know whether you saw the one that was in a living room and you could see him looking over his shoulder. He was actually looking at the cross on the wall, and this was actually captured when we had this camera set up. So it was, I think it was called what was it? The program Guard Dog or something like that, so that it would trigger the camera to take a photo on your webcam, like on your computer. And Guard Dog, I think it was what it was called. So I'll have a look, and I'll show you this. I'll show you this spirit if it will show. Because you know what Google's like.
Yes, I do.
Oh, it's so annoying. Don't know why. Okay, so here it is. First cap off the rank. Yeah.
Well, just a message for Liz if she's still here. I still have it, and hopefully once I get a laptop, I'll be able to implement it with a bit of luck. But on the phone, it just doesn't record. It works, like, you know, real time and everything, but it won't record, and I don't know why. No matter what you press or do. And what I want it to do is to, like Karen said, wildlife. Have it there, and then when something goes past or whatever, then it go off and take a picture or a 10-minute freaking video. Because obviously, you know, I can't have it running 24/7 because I wouldn't be able to go through all the footage 24/7. You know, so I need to be savvy and smart about it. But it's not going anywhere. It's staying with me. I just got to get an actual program that works properly with the phone or the laptop that is on the way. Apparently, there's a laptop on its way to me. Once again, from the man himself. I don't know how.
I don't know how you're going to go seeing this. I'll try and. Oh.
I can see. Yes, it's very small though.
Well, here this went off, and as you can see, he's got a beard. He's got curly hair.
Can you zoom in a bit more? Is that possible to zoom in a little bit more?
It's really hard. I might try to. Hang on. I'll do a.
If you can't, don't worry.
I'll try and bring that up. And
was poop.
it's a very small image because of the. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, I see. That's kind of.
It looks like
actually, when you look at it.
That is where the back of him is.
This is like slime, isn't it? Really?
You can see his eyes.
I see his head quite clearly.
You can see his mouth open, and right here on the wall is a cross. And that triggered the motion camera. The camera just went. I was taking my daughter to school. By the time I took her to school and got back, there were over 200 photos that were taken from this camera, and a lot of them were black. They were just completely black, and you can see there's light in there. So it was completely black. There was no need for it to be black. Then we've got this one, and I'll have to do the one too, so you can see it. Now that actually
No,
looks
LT
like
isn't 6 foot. He's 6 inches.
this one. It's like looking at the camera, its arm looks like it's bent, and there's
Like a belly almost.
yeah, but as you can see, it's pixelated like the rest of the picture. So it's, if it was like something that was done like faked, if you want to put it that way, you wouldn't have the pixelation going through this as well. You'd see a clear, you know. But that was actually captured on the next frame, I think it was, something like that.
It's interesting because it's set up well. That's what makes it
yeah.
It's been.
Then look at this one. This is my daughter when she was, well, my middle daughter when she was little. She didn't even notice this thing at that time, standing behind the lounge.
Yeah.
But if you have a look behind it, there's like a shadow person, very tall.
It's hard to see on my face. That's better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see it now.
Now she's walking to do her homework. Walking across here to do her homework. That's a lounge, and there's a big table around here. And here is like a shadow person thing, alien almost, here. And really weird. So that was captured. And that was before I checked the camera. So it was like the last photo that was there. Yeah. Fascinating.
Definitely.
So there you go.
Yeah, it's good.
How do I get out of this? Exit. Yeah, so these are spirit who are trying to manifest, but they don't have color to them. They're just like a mass of energy, like more like a ash color, if you want to put it that way.
Wifey phoned me when I was in the taxis, and she said when her nephew, who was hit by a train, she said that he manifested just his head, and it was grey. She's trying to describe to me, and she's like, you know, can you come home? I was like, well, not really, because I'm, you know, in the middle of a job here. But she said his head was the same height as if his body would be there, but there was no body, just his head, and he was just looking at her from the top of the stairs to the down of the stairs. He was at the bottom, she was at the top, just on the phone to me, like looking down at him. And she said it's kind of creepy because, you know, you're seeing a floating head, but it's in a weird sort of smoky sort of state, like grey, you know, no colour behind it.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean no harm, obviously, but she's like, my God, well, technically, you know, I've got my nephew here at my house, you know. So yeah, you know, but I didn't see it because I was working, obviously. But yeah, she's pretty adamant what she saw. So freaky.
So there's been no side of that since.
No, we not manifestations. My wife's seen 2 or 3. The boy's seen 1 or 2. I've not seen any, bar one black shadow that's gone like past me. Or I've been in the bath, but it's only in a corner of my eye I caught it, so I can't really say, yeah, I saw that. You know what I mean? I did see it, but I didn't see it. You know. So yeah, but as far as manifestations go, no, they weren't really common. It was more common to hear things like the speaking out loud, you know, and how loud that is what always gets me, how loud it is. It's not quite like I can just hear it. It's overpoweringly loud, especially when it's like at midnight or something where, you know, it's dead silent. You know, you can hear the fridge hum from downstairs, you know, that's how quiet it is. And when, you know, open air speak happens, it's like, wow, that's really loud. You know, did someone just get a PA system and hit the fucking go button there? You know, very, very loud. So that was more common. Things moving as well. That was like on a, we'll say every fortnight something would move, and there's nothing like the movies where things fly around or like Mr. McKee. Nothing of the sort. It'd be something very simple, like a lighter would, I don't know, spin or move, you know, an amount for whatever reason toothbrushes, or turning on the kettle. That was another one, like, or because it's just a switch and it took, you know, the kettle would randomly turn on, assuming he wanted to drink a fucking tea. I don't know, but you know what I mean. So that static clicks, orbs and pictures. I showed you a few on my video now of the orbs we used to get all the time, and that's why we took the Charlie picture, you know, because we heard a click. Instead of getting an orb, we had a big fucking shadow. You know, you've seen the picture 100 times. You know, that's what we got instead, you know, instead of an orb. So we all used to get orbs everywhere, you know, in those pictures. But yeah, one day I'll be. I would like to share a rest of them. There's a scratch as well. I used to get scratches. They're kind of weird in the early days with me staying around there, and they looked like Chinese symbols. I'm not saying they are, because I don't know what Chinese writing or Japanese writing looks like really, but they didn't go in a conventional free. Sometimes they did, but most of the time they were like this weird Chinese looking figures, and they weren't deep or anything, but they were certainly there, red, and well, you know, a proper scratch, breaking of the skin and dots of blood. You know, it was really, really weird. And no, that was not through kinkiness in the bed, I assure you, because they'd be in the most weirdest of places as well. Like, yeah. So that's another thing. Once I can get the right lead to the hard disk, and if this laptop comes through, I can hook it up hopefully and get the rest of the pictures and show you. But they're not groundbreaking necessarily. You know, you got orbs and what everyone else has got. You know. So, yeah, that's what we used to get around here for the time. And answering back would be knocks, like typical knocks, you know, 1 for yes, 2 for no. That's why you come up with the M on the dinosaur or L, whatever button is, press once for yes, twice for no. It's just a simple system, you know. But any questions about death? That's off limits. The conversation would stop or not, you know, continue, or make it apparent that you're not interested. Oh, and dimmer lights as well. Dimmer lights would make the light go up for yes, down for no. We haven't had that for a long time because we always thought, well, maybe are the electrics going in the house, like the rest of the house is falling apart. But no, we've not had the dimmer lights turned up or down in any way or form for a good few years now. So that was another way of communicating. So I wish I had a ghost box back then. Maybe we'd have got some cool answers. Maybe we wouldn't have. I don't know. But you know, I was never going to tell anyone about it because fear of ridicule or becoming the opposite, having a tourist attraction. You know, we did shaft over 12 hour, whatever fucking, or 13, 12 hour, 13 hour, that company, because we were going to have an episode on us, and we at the last minute declined when we had a free medium read what actually was here and what she told us, you know. Maybe she was right, maybe she's wrong, I don't know, but that's where my information come from as to who he was.
So is that the same place where you saw Charlie, or is that a different place?
What do you mean? It's always been in this house.
The same house, yeah.
Yeah, it's always been this house. Whether anything follows us when we move, I really don't know. I really can't tell you. And we haven't heard from Charlie. Like, he makes, I mean, we've had clicks and stuff. I've even caught him in a couple of my videos when I've asked for a click and I've got it. But he had a certain type of click. I can't really describe it. It was really static, like something staticky has just popped. You know, unmistakable. So, you know, but I don't know what happened. If they just fade out, they get bored, or they've done what they've got to do. I think the only link we've got is Natalie's granddad, who is like, you know, obviously very loved his granddaughter, as in they had a really good relationship. And he always used to go on about his best friend Charlie. So is it like now when her granddad died at the age of 7, she was it like, oh yeah, you know, make sure you look after my granddaughter, and a lot of exes, like she was tied up on the bed and having that kind of, you know, stuff. Charlie didn't like this so much, and the clever thing was he waited until the handcuffs were released. He didn't do anything stupid because she'd been stuck there otherwise, you know what I mean? But as soon as his handcuffs were released, yeah, he had lighters, not launched at him, that's not the right word, but things moved. Gusts of wind, that's another one, like big gusts of wind. And yeah, that boyfriend was pretty freaked out and never come back again. And while the sex was consensual, there was a lot of bruises and she got battered, put it nicely. It was very, very rough, and he didn't take a like to it, obviously, you know. So he was very protective. So I assume now I'm married and everything, and you know, maybe his job was done. That's only a theory, you know. I can't prove that or disprove that, but he was a bit funny towards me at the start, especially when I didn't believe in it at the start, and things would happen. I told you the first encounter I had, I was woken up at 4 a.m, 5 a.m, something like that, with the sound of like music, like World War II music, and it was ever so loud. It's not quiet, this open air speak business, I kid you not. It's very loud. I thought she had a funky alarm clock or something.
Did you hear that that music that came through when I was at the cemetery? I think I tagged you to it
Yeah.
to have a listen to it because out of the
When
blue,
was this?
it was when there were like the little lights that were showing on the ground. It was actually what I believe to be bug lights, not spirit.
Okay.
I was
Yeah.
geeing up the one that was with me. So with this particular music that came out, it was almost like war type of singing. You know,
Yeah.
like when the men would sing in harmony, a cappella type of singing. It was so random. So
Yeah. It's
they
something
don't
random.
normally
Yeah.
sing around me, but yeah, this was singing at the cemetery of all places.
Yeah. Well, singing's weird. I mean, I got sung Christmas carols in 2015, midnight, Christmas Eve day. That makes it bang on midnight. I sung a rendition of Silent Night for about 4 or 5 lines of it. And it was very weird and creepy. It's the best way to describe it. Metallic, again, it was pretty loud. And to know how loud this was is when it stopped, the silence was deafening, if that makes sense. All I could hear was my fridge humming afterwards. It was deafening sounds like, fuck. That's pretty loud. I mean, at first I thought it was someone outside my front door singing like Christmas carolers, and I thought, well, hang on a minute, it's midnight. We've never ever had Christmas carolers in the 14 years or whatever my wife's lived here. Never. And why does it sound like he's emanating above me on the roof? You know, really even outside the door, and just got up off the toilet, went to the top of my landing, and I just sat there and my ear, you know, like this is listening intently. Like, okay, I am being sung freaking Silent Night by a couple of spirits here, and as soon as they knew I was listening, or you know, it was obvious I was listening, they stopped, and that was the deafening silence. I was like,
And that just
wow.
shows
So I
you
go to
also
wake my wife.
that shows you also the level of intelligence if that was around Christmas. So they were aware of
Bang on midnight, Eve day, right on midnight. It was right on midnight, so Eve today, bang on. But yeah, I woke up my wife straight away, and she said, "Oh, don't be silly with Christmas carolers." I'm like, Christmas carols, just think about this a minute, right? Let's be logical. Oh, well, the magnitude's never logical. Don't be silly. But no, seriously, we've never had Christmas carolers. We've, you know, and then it started again, but downstairs, and it sounded like a group of them have congregated around a bloody tree. And this one sounded more threatening rather than just creepy ass. It was, I can't do the noise. Like it's sort of horns, and we were both like, fudge. No, we just were under the duvet, and we just like, we're not going to inspect that. We'll just stay here. That's probably kind of frightening. It lasted like 5 seconds, if that, but it was loud again. Like, see, I told you, you know, some weird shit's going on here, and you know, it was the first for a long time, you know. So,
and nothing since.
not really. No, I mean the door being shut on me, which I caught on
Just
video.
out of
And
curiosity, when you did hear it, that you didn't have a spirit box, did you?
no, didn't have one then. No.
Okay, because this gives you a bit of a clue of where the interaction has been going. When you began to use a spirit box, you would have eliminated all that other type of contact.
Okay.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
You're giving them permission to use the box as opposed to verbal communication.
Yeah.
That's why you should also try to ease back on it, because if you use it too much, you're not going to get the combination, because you can hear them.
Yeah, it was loud. Like I said, anyone who was standing next to me would have heard. It wasn't like, oh, I can just hear it. You know, anyone would have heard it standing next to me. Like I said, once I woke my wife up, she heard it too, and like, oh shoot, you know, it's it's loud. I can't emphasize that enough of how it's quite shocking, really. So yeah, very very weird, and capturing stuff like this as well is tricky because you never know when something like this is going to happen. How do you, you know, you can't predict when, where. It was so random, you know, like what the hell. But yeah, no, like you say, if you're always using the spirit box, why would they choose to use anything else? Like I said, the only other thing I caught was the door shutting. You've seen that door shut, and it wasn't shut in a manner of the wind did it or whatever. You know, it's quite, yeah, it's very strange, that one. Yeah, and that was one of the rules actually. Not allowed to shut doors. I don't know why my wife has a thing about that. Shutting doors, don't like it. Yeah.
I wonder why I'm showing up and not you.
Huh? Oh, am I
Oh.
locked? Am I?
I don't know.
Hello.
You should. I'm not locked. Zara, help.
It's okay. As long as you can hear me. Yeah, Zara.
Yeah, but still, I mean, I'm having to click on your profile for you to be seen. It's crazy.
Let me try this a minute. Hang on. No, it wouldn't let me. It will. How about if I just do that? So I'm gone for the minute, and then would I come back if I do this? Does that work? No? Yes? Free Luxful? See Riley sometimes, says Zara Hilton. Am I not shouting enough with real language?
Yeah, because I'm
Hello?
clicking on him, Zara, for him to actually appear. Otherwise, it's just on me, and I don't like. I'd rather be behind a camera than in front of one. I'll put you back on. So don't have to look at me.
I think.
So just out of interest, everybody, can everyone hear Riley okay?
Not underwater, am I? Like I usually do. Go underwater.
No, you don't even sound like that. And interesting enough, I didn't have to press mute or anything like that.
Yeah.
That was weird. That was really weird.
Be somewhere. I was meant to be somewhere. That's Ryan, not a video on this. I'm about a different thing. I'm going to get Ryan in next week, but Ryan will do a video saying, I was meant to be somewhere. Oh, darn, I missed it again. So no video. Yes, no, don't need to do that. It's really a minor, thing which is sorted now anyway. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. No.
Oh well, it's been an eventful night, day for you. Alrighty, well, you have a great weekend. I'll see you next Friday. I look forward to your videos. Everyone have a great weekend as well. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. That's not much.
I couldn't go to the cemetery last night because we had gale force winds from here. We've got a couple of trees that have been knocked down. I don't know what it's like on your end, Jackie, but on our end, it was pretty windy and galy and not very nice yesterday. So I'm not going to go into a cemetery with all that going on. This will what will be like. It's just pointless, I have got a Q&A video to do, but I kept getting interrupted. So, like I say, I usually do a video every day, but this week and last week I'm a bit slow and cumbersome because I got lots going on in my personal life that I need to address first, and the YouTube is taking a bit of the back seat. But that's okay. I'm still here, Thirtless. I'm not giving up. I'm not getting bored of it or anything stupid, or thinking of throwing it away because all the slimy Thirtlesses are getting on my back. No, not at all. In fact, most of them are slowly dissipating at last. So it's all good. Don't worry about it.
Oh, just one more thing on a closing note. With the PSB7, there's actually there's a bag. If you go to ghoststop.com, they've actually got like a little like a lunch bag or something that they put them in, which is supposed to stop radio waves or something like that.
Yeah, Faraday.
Yeah. I have never tried the spirit box in any type of bag, so it might be an idea. And have you heard of the devil's what's it called? I mean, it's just the name of it. It's called the devil's box or something.
It's a cubed mirror.
Yeah, it's mirrors, and yeah, they actually place inside of it a microphone or a recorder, and they actually so that'd be an interesting experiment. Not that it connects with the devil.
Devil Has Risen is his new name, but he used to have it. I can't remember his old name now. Oh, he's got one, and I think he's done some videos on it. He's someone who knows. He's always very nice. He's always putting lovely comments. I can't remember his bloody name now. It's gonna bug me. But he's got one anyway. He's now called Devil Has Risen, but that's not what his original name was. He was called something else. He watches all the time. I can't remember his bloody name though. Oh God, I'm getting my head in now. But yeah, he never leaves you a negative comment ever. He's the most nicest guy in the world. But he's got one of those mirrored boxes, and I did ask him how.
I would actually be interested to see how they work. I was thinking about making one, using some
Yeah.
mirrored tiles from Bunnings or something like that.
That's what you got to do. Make a cube. You make a cube of
Yeah.
mirrors, all facing inwards, and then you put a little microphone in it and just leave it. You need light as well. I think you need to have a light in there, some sort of a light source. I think that's another thing you need.
Interesting. I really do have to make one. I'm curious about the ability of spirit. So it would be very interesting to see what comes through. But anyway, we're rambling.
Yeah,
So
I need to go. I got some cleaning to do.
enjoy your cleaning. Knock yourself out. I'm going to go to sleep.
Yeah, no worries.
It is 5 past midnight. So good timing anyway. So thank you, everyone. Have a great weekend. Again, I'll see you next Friday. And if there is any topic you want to talk about, feel free to put down some suggestions. I wanted to, and I should have just like gone with the topic just so I can share with you, Riley, if you're still there. Yeah.
I'm still here.
I was going to talk about urban myths and legends.
Yeah.
So I've got a few up my sleeves that I will talk about probably in the coming weeks. If Ryan isn't on next week, or our other guest, which we'll keep a mystery, then I'll use that as a backup plan.
Yeah, definitely. Sounds good to me.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, take care. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Can't find the hang up button now.